Welcome back to the Sideline Live podcast. You can follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at the Sideline Live. We'd love to hear from you. On episode 49, I am delighted to be joined by Louth senior football captain Sam Mulroy. On this episode, we chat about all things free taking, ranging from technique to practice, mindset, and so much more, and opening his own business, Sam Mulroy Fitness. I really enjoyed chatting with Sam, so I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hi Sam, thanks a million for coming on the podcast.
Hello Orla, thanks a million for having me, thank you.
Before we get started, would you be able to give a bit of an introduction about yourself to the listeners who might not know who you are?
Yes, my name's Sam Mulroy, current Louth senior football captain. I am 23 years old from Honest Boys, County Louth. I currently run my own fitness business called Sam Mulroy Fitness. And yeah, that's basically me. Nothing too exciting.
Very good. So we're going to go back to kind of growing up. When did the dream start of playing for Louth?
I suppose ever since I was a young fella and I started playing Gaelic. When as long as back as I can remember, I always loved Louth and I always dreamed of playing with Louth. I would have always went to matches no matter where they were. My granddad would have been a big football man, and my father is as well. So it's kind of in the family. And look, we travelled everywhere watching Louth over the years, and we were lucky enough to have 2 or 3 club men that would have always represented our club with Louth. So it was kind of always looking up to those lads playing and that. So the burning desire was there from when we were young, and it was always a dream of mine. So thankfully I've got to fulfil that dream.
Brilliant. When did you start get involved with the underage squads in Louth and kind of see that become a reality?
Yeah, so I got in when I think we started at 13, 14 with trials and South Louth and East Louth and stuff like this. And then I would have been on the underage squads the whole way up to minor or 17 or whatever it was. So no, I was always in and around. Probably wasn't as good as I am now, maybe in a sense of I was never starting or I was kind of in around the fringes, first, second team kind of. I never I was playing a little bit of soccer as well at the time. Done Kennedy Cup, done the whole works when I was younger as well. So probably didn't take it as serious as maybe I could have or I should have. And it took me a little bit longer to develop, but I got there in the end, thankfully.
Yeah, exactly. You were called into the Louth senior squad at 18. Talk us through that. You're very young. How did you find the whole experience of being called up and playing with really like what sounds like your dream?
Yeah, no, it was mental at the time. I think I was only out of minor. We'd been beaten by Laois in the second round or the quarter final of the Leinster Championship at minor, and a week later, obviously coming off that disappointment, I was got a phone call off the senior manager that asked me to come in. Obviously, I couldn't play due to having played the minor championship. So, no, it was great to get a call, and I got up and we Louth senior team were preparing to play Meath in the Leinster Championship a few weeks later, so it was great to go back to train with them and see what happens building up to a big match like that. So no, it was an unreal experience, and one that I'll always be grateful for to Colin Kelly for that to bring me in, and especially at a young age. It's great to see and learn off players and how to deal with big situations like that, and it was a brilliant learning curve. Yeah.
Did any of the lads give you some advice coming into the team? And did you happen to sit in anyone's seat in the dressing room by any chance?
No, look, I got a bit of advice. I always get advice here and there, but yeah, look, I don't know if I was driving at the time, maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, but we getting lifted up with lads from local enough. My pops Rats from another club brought me up to Parnell Park. We were training in Parnell Park before that Meath match, and like you just get chatting to boys like that way, and it's great that they take you in, and you're obviously a nervous wreck when you, as you said, walking into that dressing room and try not to put a foot wrong or someone's going to slag you off or something or make a fool of you in some way. So it's just you're nearly cautious more than anything walking into the dressing room. But no, it's a great laugh, and the boys are great. I suppose bringing in and stuff like that. So no, I'd be thankful to them, and we'd Craig Lynch on the team at that stage, who would have been established a county player at that stage. So no, it was great to have the likes of them around you to help you and give you a little bit of a slagging or a kick up the hole every now and again, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk to you a little bit about Leaving Cert and school and college. I'm just conscious a lot of younger listeners may be listening. I think that's something we need to really discuss more for those younger people that might be listening. But talk us through your experience with school, the Leaving Cert and getting into college, because I think you had an interesting route. You didn't really particularly enjoy school, you were saying before.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I was actually saying this to someone the other day that my mother and myself used to have serious fights school mornings trying to get me to go. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It used to be torture in the house, and I have apologized since. But
Yeah.
no, look, my route to college and the route to where I am now wasn't as straightforward as it probably should have been. I didn't like school. Didn't enjoy anything about it, I suppose. It never interested me. And then I'd left school and done a really bad leaving cert, to be honest with you. Never studied, didn't do anything about it, and which is obviously a regret looking back. But thankfully, Derek Crilly, who was head of sport and would have played it loud for many years, was in DQIT. He's head of sport in DQIT, and he gave me a phone call. Must have been around Halloween time that year, and had said, look, if you go and do a PLC, we'll get you in to the college next year. Obviously they're looking at it from the football side of it, the point of view, but in fairness to Derek, he'd always put my academic side first as well. So that was great. They gave me a call. I got into Drogheda further education, which is very close to me. So I got in there, done a year there, and then actually probably screwed Derek over a little bit. I ended up going to Carlow then on a scholarship.
No.
Yes, which I have apologised to Derek for as well. So look, I went to Carlow then for a year, and then I ended up, because I'd been called into the Louth team at that age, and I wanted nothing more than to play with Louth. I transferred it. I was never down in Carlow. I was always coming back for training or missing college to go to training and make sure I was home to go to gym sessions or whatever it was. So I ended up transferring straight from Carlow into DQIT into second year, and that didn't go great either. The first year I was there, I dislocated my ankle 3 days before my exams. So I ended up failing all of those because I didn't get to do them. So I had another added year on, and then that was fine. Done that, got into third year, final year, and it clashed that we had to do a weekend away in my course, and it clashed with a quarterfinal of our club championship last year.
Oh, sure.
Which I think you can guess which one I picked to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to college anyway, and I played the club championship match, and I had to do an extra year again to pass college. So finally I've got there, and I've got my degree in sport exercise after a long road. But look, I suppose it is what it is, and it just goes to show there's 100 ways to get there. And as I said, I'd never enjoyed study or school or anything, but I suppose there's massive learnings in it as well. And as I said, it can be done many ways.
Absolutely. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about your own business, because I suppose you probably set that up when you were in college there, because it obviously links into your degree there, sport and exercise management.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So in my third year of DQIT in that program, we do a placement. So I done my placement with our S&C coach at the time, Graham Byrne. He works in Sport Ireland up in Dublin. And so I went under his wing up in Sport Ireland, and I ended up working in his gym with him up there on the campus, which is just amazing facility. And you're seeing all the international rugby players come in, the 7 players come in, all the different athletes from that represent Ireland, which was incredible, and getting to see their facilities and what they do daily. Was a brilliant experience. And Graham took me under his wing there, and look, I was working in the gym, and I took the idea back. We had a little chat, me and Graham, and took the idea back here, and I started running fitness classes in my local GAA club, and thankfully since then it's grown, and it's been brilliant to I suppose look back now, and when you think about it and talk about it, how far I've come, in a sense of I think I was baiting 30 people into a little hall in the GAA club to build in a nice facility with the gym here. So look, it's been a great learning curve, and one that I've thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah.
Speaking of the learning curves, is there any particular big lessons you've learned from running your own business? I suppose, especially at a young age, it's quite a big leap for anyone, but I think particularly at a young age when you're trying to balance intercounty football, college, and then your own business.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a massive learning curve. There's loads of things that I suppose you don't know till you get thrown into it, what has to be done or who has to be dealt with, how you have to deal with certain situations. There's loads of things that people, I suppose, don't see or don't know happens. And they might see it in the gym, and they all think it's great, but there's lots of stuff that goes on when there's no one here, or there's been a lot of early mornings and a lot of late nights here on the laptop, or finding new stuff, or just researching and trying to make it work, I suppose. And look, it was tough. Obviously then COVID hit when things were going well for me as well, so we had to close we had to stop the fitness classes and close the gym at the time. So look, it was definitely a tough and a learning curve, but one that I feel be a lot better for now. Look, as you said, the learning curves are massive, especially at a young age, and as you said, balancing work life. That balance is tough to get sometimes, and when there's probably managers pulling at you from different directions, college pulling at you, family and friends, and it's look, I've struggled with it definitely over the last while to manage them, but it's just taking a step back and trying to make yourself happy, I suppose, in a way, and then the other people come secondary, unfortunately, and whatever makes you happy, I suppose. But once, as you said, there's younger listeners probably listening. So at the end of the day, you come first, and it took me a while to figure that out. I was is working at 5:30 some mornings and not finishing until 10 o'clock that night, and that's the stuff people don't see, you know, that sort of way. So, but to make it work, you have to do it sometimes, and I've done it. So, look, I'm doing okay now. I have a nice structure to my day. Look, football comes first with the business, so it's been great.
Brilliant. With COVID, I think you put a lot of programs online. How did you find training people over Zoom? I presume you were using Zoom because everyone was on it during the COVID pandemic. And I think you set up, is it Fast Academy you're a part of as well, the online speed program?
Yeah. So the Zoom thing was great in a way and difficult in a way. Look, it's a weird one. You're used to being here buzzing off people, loads of music, loud gym, people talking to each other, and then you go into a quiet room with yourself, and you're hoping the internet won't fall down, or people can hear you, or it's little things that you never even think of, and they happen. One morning I come into the gym to do a Zoom call, and the ESB were after turning the electricity off the day before, so I couldn't turn on the lights, and it was 7 o'clock in the morning. No one could see me on the camera, so I had to do a class by just talking. So it was mad. There was mad other things that happened, and as I said, Jesus, there was some learning in it. And look, and as most people have found, it's a new way of communicating. It's a new way of getting things done. It's efficient for time, and stuff like that. So it was great, a great learning, and it was done. But I'm glad to be back, seeing people in the gym, on the gym floor, and stuff like that. And as you said, then me and myself and my good friend Mick Fanning, who has his own physio business, we set up Fast Academy then over the last number of months. Which, as you said, is an online platform. So we obviously got a benefit from the COVID thing. We went online with this program, and we both deal with people in person in our daily jobs. But we thought, look, there's a big opportunity here for online programming, and that's what we done. We stuck together a new website called Fast Academy, and we deliver online programs straight to people's phones that they complete in their own time. Easily accessible, and as you said, the Zoom thing and the online thing is brilliant for people who mightn't have the time or are struggling or don't enjoy going to the gym. It's in your own time. It's perfect, and the programs and the website looks really cool, and we're happy with how it's turned out. So it's been busy with that as well. So it's getting that off the ground, and it's going good.
It's brilliant as well to see the number of GAA players sharing content and programs, because I suppose when you're younger, all you want to do is emulate your heroes, and now you get to learn from your heroes and get to follow, oh, this is Sam's speed workout. So do you know what I mean? You're learning from the inter-county athletes that are before you, whereas maybe 10 or 15 years ago that wasn't as accessible because with the internet it just wasn't there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting, and even over lockdown, like looking at some of the inter-county players or the soccer players, whoever it was, putting up little clips and stuff like that. Even myself would be out in the pitch here whacking balls or trying to flick ups or whatever it was. And as a young lad, it was just going to YouTube, running in on the old computer at home, and then running back outside. So it's great. Great that it's so easily accessible on the phone at your fingertips. So as you said, look, it's great that so many county players have put themselves out there to share their experiences. And I think there's probably a stigma around maybe county players or around that no one should tell anyone anything, and it should all be hush hush and no one should know anything, which I don't necessarily agree with. Sometimes I think, look, no one has a magic wand, or no one does anything different than anyone else. It's mad that we're afraid to tell each other what we do, in case anyone gets an upper hand. But I don't think that's the case. I think everyone should share. We're all trying to learn, and I think the more that we give out, the more that we can get back sometimes.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with you there. Talking about your own training, you were mentioning there going out to the pitch by yourself, kicking a few footballs. How did you find training by yourself during 2020 and 2021?
Yeah, it was tough. I suppose when the first lockdown hit, I actually enjoyed it. In a weird way, as a young fella, I always would have went to the pitch on my own. I enjoyed that kind of in a sense of, I think maybe I thought I was getting one up on other players, but
Yeah.
actually just practicing on myself or away from it, I don't know, in a weird way. And then I do like, I kind of find it's my own time, I suppose, when I go out and I'm just by myself and I get to practice things that you don't get to practice at training maybe enough or whatever. So look, the first lockdown, I'm not going to lie, I probably did sneak up to the pitch once or twice to kick a few frees if I got bored of training at home. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was great in that sense. And then look, obviously winter hit last year and we got called off training with our counties, which was a tough one to take, I suppose, because there was soccer teams still training and there was very blurred lines of what could be done or who you could train with and stuff. So it was tough last winter when the snow was falling down and you have to go out and get miles up on that GPS. So there was no hiding places there, but look, it was tough, and thankfully it's done, and hopefully it'll never happen again. But geez, it was some character building, I suppose, in a way. There was some relief and I suppose happiness once you get it done.
Yeah.
You know, you were done for a day or two, and there was another one ticked off the list. And I found it stood to me over the last while. I feel strong, and look, it's credit to our S&C coach.
They obviously gave you running programs and strength programs to complete by yourselves, was it?
Yeah, we were flat out. We had a full training schedule, I suppose, and we'd try to gather a few little lads here, and we'd get it done. Obviously, at a safe distance and stuff like that together. Or we'd be spread out across the pitch and be up and down, trying to beat each other as well. And I suppose it gives you that little bit of competition, that little push that you obviously miss as a competitive sports player. So, no, it was nice to have a few lads kind of locally here trying to get them done. But yeah, look, we were provided with full strength and full. Thankfully, I'd obviously access to equipment, on in the gym and stuff. So that was a massive help. My mother was going mad. There was that many dumbbells on the kitchen floor, but
she was going mad. I'm interested to talk to you a little bit about free taking. I would have taken frees when I was younger. I think I've been relegated from that role now. But I suppose for yourself, with your own practice, how many kicks would you maybe do a week, and how often would you practice by yourself?
Yeah, I suppose last year I practiced probably every day or every second day, purely because I'd nothing else to do. And it was my way of, I suppose, getting away from the whole pandemic thing, and a bit of normality was just to come and kick a few frees or kick a few balls or whatever it was, or practice at home, striking the ball even. I always, if I am asked to coach any kids on striking the ball or kicking the ball, I'll always take them away from the goalposts and I'll bring them to the back net, and they just practice on repetition of the striking of the ball. So I would have spent a lot of time on that off both feet when I was younger, just kicking into the back net, and just trying to focus on where the ball was hitting my foot. And then look, I suppose once you get comfortable, and I think that when you know why you missed the free, I think that's when you've mastered it. Or I don't think anyone will ever master it, but I think that's when you're getting close, and when you can recognize, oh look, my shoulder was too far high, or I lifted my head too soon, or I didn't connect with the ball where I wanted to and stuff. I think when you can notice those things, you're onto something. And look, at the minute I practice, I'll always take probably 10, 15, 20 shots after training or before training, purely on free taking. And then look, I'll try to get one session in also on my own a week, at the minute, leading up to the club championship.
And I'm interested there, you mentioned being able to recognise when you miss a free, why it is. That's brilliant. When did you start to kind of notice that and develop that? Because I guess it's just over repetition and repetition you start to really kind of put it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant asset to have, I suppose, in the sense of when, look, even I suppose when you get used to it and what you're trying to do. And I think it's about finding a run up or a strike that suits what suits your technique and stuff. Like I would have always, when I was younger, I would have been whipping the ball with the inside of my foot, when I kicked the ball off the ground. And then I probably would have changed up what way I was kicking it out of my hands. And look, I've got a lot of sick over the last few years. I missed a few frees in the championship final 2 or 3 years ago, and I was after kicking some brilliant ones off the ground, and then when they get in closer I like them out of my hand. So people are kind of asking for consistency, and I understand that. So it's about finding the mental side of it as well, of what you're comfortable with. I think is a massive one. And look, I've got down to the technique, whereas off the ground now it's straight through at my foot. There's no curl on the ball. It's a straight through strike, and I've nailed down the routine out of my hands, and that's comfortable for me. And I think once you get a routine and once there's something you're comfortable with, and then you can start picking holes in it and going, look, I spend too long looking at the posts, or I spend too long hopping the ball. A lot of people hop the ball or move it from side to side, and there's a lot of things like that I would have focused on when I was practicing, trying to strip it all back, and take as many things away from it maybe as you could, and just when you look at Rory Beggan or Niall Morgan walk up to the ball, there's no messing about. It's literally 5 steps back, 3 to the left, and go and kick the ball, which most goalkeepers are brilliant at now. And I think over the years, maybe some free kickers maybe complicated, including myself. So it's about stripping it back and being comfortable in that environment. Another one I probably would have used was practicing with the earphones in and just the crowd noise. And I found when I started playing county games that the noise is obviously a massive factor, considering you would have never had that noise at a club match or an underage county match. I suppose then the earphones come into it, and just repetition on noise happening in the background or stuff like that was a cool one, I thought, as well. I would have learned that. I've seen rugby players doing it before and they kick, so I just picking up little things like that, I suppose.
Brilliant. Do you find there's a particular technique that you use now to kind of block out the sound? I know that's probably hard to do though when you've got thousands of people screaming.
Yeah, no, I've grown to love it. I used to hate it. I remember my first county match with Louth was against Meath in Park Talton, and the place was absolutely packed with 7,000 or 8,000 people. And back then, my run up was really long, and I took a long time to kick the ball. And I remember standing there, and all I could hear was people in the crowd talking. It was dead silent. It was a 50. I was only on the pitch, and all you can hear is people talking and talking and talking, and then they start shouting and it starts getting louder, and it's really hard to block it out. And I suppose at the time it might have affected me a little bit, but now it's just about embracing it, and I suppose, and I like to think they're shouting at you for a reason, because they know they're going to kick it over the bar 9 times out of 10. So it's about just dealing with it and having a little laugh to yourself, I suppose, as you run up or after it goes over the bar. So look, I try and embrace it at this stage of my career now. Yeah.
Brilliant. You mentioned there kind of looking at the rugby guys, and that's how you got the idea for the headphones. Do you look at a lot of sports and kind of pick ideas up from them, whether it's rugby? You mentioned soccer before.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a big lover of other sports. I'd never sit and watch other matches. I'd rarely sit and watch a soccer match or any. I won't watch golf. I don't watch anything really other than GAA, but I will clip out other stuff off other sports. Look, the big one I suppose at the minute is the basketball cross over to GAA, and the handling and the technique and the tackling and stuff. So I will always look for stuff like that, but I won't lie, I don't sit and watch matches. But I will always try and find clips or some info off someone who said something or who taught something else. I seen a clip with Kobe Bryant last week about he puts his inside hand when he's tackling and stuff like this. You're trying to pick up off different people and how can you relate it to your own sport and what you do. So I do love looking at other people and other sports people too. Even in GAA, look, I think people hide behind the fact that they mightn't like to talk about other GAA players, but there's no hiding here. I love looking at other GAA players and picking out what they have that's good or what they have that's bad that can be improved and worked on or brought to my game. Whether it be a tackle or a kicking technique or whatever it is, a dummy solo, I don't mind. But I do think it's important to be open-minded to everything else that's going on in sport. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you find yourself when you're watching matches now, maybe with your free kicks, or you mentioned there some of their moves, that not you obviously still enjoy the match, but do you find yourself really breaking down what they're doing, is like kind of being like, oh, that's really clever? Because I find my dad hates me for it, but I'll pause the TV and I'll be like, no, rewind, I need to record that.
Yeah.
Do you find you like break things down a lot when you're watching matches?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that the lads in the group chat hate me, I think, because I always will do, as you said there, I'll record the telly and you can see me in the background recording it and talking through the clip. Yeah, so look, I love breaking it down, and even I was lucky enough to be at the All-Ireland final on Saturday, and you're looking at what they do, and you're trying to think why they're doing that, how's the other team going to react, and systems of play. And I suppose the big one over the last probably year or two is been lucky enough to work with Jimmy McGuinness and Mickey Harte, and the way they think about the game and the way they see the game, and then you're kind of going, oh, no, that's what he's talking about now, or and then it starts registering with you, and then you can start looking at other teams. Like the things we're trying to do at Louth probably at the minute. You see some of it in the Tyrone match from the weekend and what they do. So that imprint is there, and the big teams perform it, the best teams perform it the whole time. So it's about us as Louth players, I suppose, trying to get up and match that standard of them doing it every time they have the ball consistently. So yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned there the group chat. Would you take notes or anything, whether it's with your own individual sessions, team sessions, or learning from others?
Yeah, I suppose I do. Look, I like video and recording things to watch them back. I love getting video clips sent to me because I do think I'm best at learning when I'm watching something. And I think, look, we've a brilliant stats man and a brilliant video with Louth this year, videographer. So, look, it was great to you get clips sent to you and you're on. This is good. This could be better, and stuff like that. So, no, I do take on board everything, or try write down stuff that could be done better or could be done or that wasn't so good, if that makes sense. So no, I think it's important to recognise and to reflect on your own game. And even if you don't write it down and you actually just take time to think about it, I think it's powerful as well, because I do think a lot of players, and it probably annoys me a little bit, they go home and they forget about the thing and it's done and so be it. And look, I'm a little bit more serious and than that. I like to go home and look, I probably will be in a mood for a few hours if we're a bet or I didn't play so well, and it's just me reflecting and thinking about what happened, maybe, I suppose, and trying to not let it happen again, or something good did happen, how can I recreate it, I suppose.
Would you watch back much video of yourself taking frees or playing, or would you find yourself being overcritical of yourself, or have you been able to kind of park that side of it at all?
Recently I've been better at, I suppose, forgetting about mistakes. When I was young, I would have been, I could have been in the mood for 2 or 3 days. I wouldn't talk to my mum or dad, or used to be awful. I used to be bad. I used to overthink things big time, and it's a bad trait to have. Because look, there's more to life than a football match at the weekend, and it took me a long time to realise that. But look, I think you do have to be, I suppose, clever enough and understand enough that you do need to look back and to recognise where you went wrong or how you can make it better, I suppose. So look, I do look back at clips of me, and I like looking at clips of myself or the team before the match, and to just put it back in my mind again, I think is a good tool to reinforce positive behaviours and positive thoughts before a match, can be crucial. And I'd never watch the bad ones before a match. I'd try find on my clip maybe someone that sent me a year or two ago about a nice free kick that I would have hit, and maybe it was in Croke Park or it was a big match and I kick a good one. I just think it makes you feel good, and it has you ready then, I suppose, going into the match more so.
Would you be able to take us through some of your free kick routine, and kind of from when the whistle is blown and you know you're going to take the free, what goes through your head? What do you do sort of breathing wise? What's your routine? And then with your striking with the kick?
Yeah, I suppose a question was asked to me a few years ago by Coach Christy Grimes, would have played a lad. He coached us with the club here, and he asked me one day, what do you think when the whistle's blown and we have a free? And he used to, and I didn't know what to say. He caught me, I suppose. I never knew. I never thought about it enough. And then I was kind of going, geez, I think the first thought that comes into my head is, what if I miss? And he was going, are you mad? Like you can't, I suppose you can't think like that. And now it's now is when we get a free, it's going, all right, lovely, another score for Sam. And I think that was it was just a flick in my mindset to go, stop worrying about if you miss and start thinking, what if you score? Was a big one, I suppose. So that was a whole change in my mindset to stop worrying about what if you miss. So what, I suppose, at the end of the day, it's about, imagine you score. That was a big change in my mindset. And I suppose in regards to technique and breathing and stuff, it's ball down, and I'll always place the All Ireland that's right under the knees facing towards me, and I'll always try strike through the E in the Ireland. That's just my spot and where I'm going to hit the ball. 8 steps back, 2 to the left. A nice deep breath, hands on the hips, face shoulder to the post, and a little stutter on the way up, and I go and strike it. Is what it is off the ground anyway. And I think a nice deep breath and a nice little focus from ball to post, and back to the ball is a nice little technique of just where you want the ball to go through. And you hear the rugby players as well, I suppose, talk about the person in the stand behind the net, or the tree in the distance, would be I suppose one for us maybe that young GA players can look at. Yeah,
I love the way you mentioned there the letter E. Is that like you obviously aim for that, but is that something you use maybe for visualization? You kind of see yourself kicking the letter E in All Ireland.
Yeah. So once I place the ball, then I'll have the E that it's going from. If I kick through the E, the ball will travel straight through the post. Is obviously the thinking behind it. And just when I see the E, that I know that if my ball or if my foot hits the ball there, it should be en route to where I've planned it to go. I like setting the ball up nice and making sure it's set right. I think it's important to take your time and to get that right, I suppose. And it's just what find works for you. Some people like to use the D at the end of All Ireland and get the strike on the outside of the ball if they're whipping it and stuff. So it's just finding what works for you. People like the valve, and people like the ball upside down. Whatever it is, it's D that works for me in All Ireland. Yeah.
You had a game against Offaly this year. Unfortunately, you lost the game, but you had a free to send it to extra time. Talk us a little bit about that and kind of being able to stay in the moment and kind of think of this as a free kick rather than this is a free kick that will keep us in the game and send it to extra time.
Yeah, I suppose what we spoke about earlier, it's looking back, and I never really think about that free kick now. I always think about the shot. I had a chance to win it at the end out of my hands that we worked well back to me outside the 45 and I missed. I was very close and I missed on it. And I suppose when people say to me about the free, it's kind of going, geez, I can barely remember it now. Because all I can think about is the shot that I missed. But
yeah,
it's a weird one. But look, it was a difficult free and 45 yards away out in the left, and I hit it well. And I suppose at the time it was, I think I was so in the moment. I would have a big thing where I wouldn't look at the scoreboard during matches.
Okay.
It's always just the next. I think it's just trying to stay in the moment, and the next ball is the most important ball. So it's look, when that free kick happened, it was all about just getting a good strike, I suppose, and not thinking if what if we miss, we're going to lose, or what if I score, it's going to go to extra time. I think it's taken that emotion away and just been nice, cool, and just saying, this is all about me. It's all about my strike on the ball. And once you can focus in on that and hone in on that, and thankfully I hit it well and I went over. But look, then again, I look back and I go, look, I should have scored the next one as well. So,
yeah.
you take them like that, I suppose.
You mentioned, I think it was an Instagram live chat, that mentality of you kind of remind yourself the sun comes up in the morning. Talk us through a little bit about that and how you developed that kind of. It sounds like really like a mantra that you kind of remind yourself about.
Yeah, it's one that I suppose I think after that into one of the lads going, what are you on about? A lot on the list. I got a bit of slagging over that one, but yeah, look, I suppose the big thing for me when I was younger, and I probably still, the lads kind of still, people who are close to me kind of understand that I probably took football a little bit maybe too serious when I was younger. 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way up to maybe 21, 22, where it would have affected me for 2 or 3 days if I didn't play well, or and I suppose all I thought about was football, or all I wanted to do was play football. Whereas now it's kind of taking yourself, look, at the end of the day, football doesn't pay my bills, or it won't make me a better person or anything like that. It's kind of, one of my good friends, Robbie, said to me one of the days, he's like, yeah, you're Sam Mulroy the footballer, but what when football finishes, then what are you? And it's just creating that person, I suppose, as well, is important. So it's just, yeah, if we lose, the sun comes up in the morning. If we win, the sun comes up in the morning. When you walk down the street the next day, no one actually cares what happened yesterday. Half of them don't know what happened yesterday. And look, I think there's more important things in life, and sometimes people, I forget it a lot. Sometimes people forget it a lot, and you look at the mayhem that happened after the All-Ireland final this year, and it's people giving out about players, or he should have done that, he should have done this, and you're going, you forget he's gone home to his mum or his dad or his wife or his kids or his boyfriend, whatever it is. And it's a strange one, and as a player, I think only players understand that, and unless you've played the game, you don't get it. So I find that I understand people have to criticise and critique a match, but I think they do need to understand sometimes that they are people at the end of the day. And look, when you look at the people on the pitch, Lee Keegan with his daughter, and Peter Harte with his child as well, and you're going, look, that's what it's about. Sometimes they battle for 70 minutes and then it's done, and look, they're going home and they still have to look at their kids in the morning, and whether they won or they lost, their kids doesn't know, and half of the people in Ireland don't know, which is a funny thing, I suppose. So look, it's taking away that emotional connection with football sometimes can be important as well, and one that I probably still struggle with to take away. And sometimes you need to switch off as much as you need to switch on, I think.
How do you switch off out of interest from football, particularly maybe in season when you're so enthralled in everything?
Yeah, I suppose it can be difficult, and I suppose when my job, I suppose, is based around performance
Hmm.
and feeling good and stuff like that, it can be difficult to switch off sometimes. And it is really simple things that help me switch off. And whether it actually is going to the gym, I don't find gym as a chore. I actually just enjoy going. Like
Okay.
sometimes I come really late. Sometimes I come really late at night, and it mightn't be anything structured. It might just to be here or to clear the head, listen to a few tunes and enjoy the session more so than worrying about all of this going to make me play better in 3 weeks time when all in all it's probably not going to have any too much of an effect or that sort of way. So
Hmm.
I like to go for a walk and listen to podcasts and chill out that way. I like going for coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. I'm a bit of an addict. So
Okay.
going with my friends for coffee and really simple things like that keep me happy. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big partier. So some people find me boring. Some people enjoy it that I can be there and go for coffee on a Sunday morning or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
no, I enjoy simple things like that. And I like having time to do things that I enjoy, I suppose. And so that means being organised, and that means not being hungover. That's what I'll do during that sort of way. So
Is it hard as an intercounty player to try balance, as you said there, the criticism on social media or in the papers? Like I know it's hard. Like obviously you don't go into the shop and buy a paper that says Sam Mulroy is terrible on the front cover, but is it hard on social media to really escape that constant feedback? And you mentioned there's so many tweets about the last weekend, and you see awful stuff being said. And as you said, you know your family, you have work, your professional life that outside of football that nobody really kind of remembers when the All Ireland whistle is blown and they're busy tweeting about Aidan O'Shea or whoever it is.
yeah, yeah. So it's a weird one. Like I suppose. To stay away from it is to don't look at it. And I would have went through a phase where I would have read everything,
Okay.
whether it was good or whether it was bad. And I suppose, as I said, we were betting the championship final 2 years ago, and I didn't play well. And look, then you're sitting in the pub after and you're having a few drinks with your teammates and your friends and family, and they're going, oh, there's something up about on this about you, and you see it yourself, and you're going, oh, gosh, or whatever, like, but it does affect you and it does get to you. And I think
Hmm.
it can be tough to block it out. So the whole thing with me is now I don't read anything, whether it's good, whether it's bad, and I just take myself out of that environment. Look, my mom is obsessed with buying the paper, whether I'm in it, whether I'm not in it. But if there's anything in it, she'll clip it. It could be about the team, it could be about some of the players on the team. She has everything,
Okay.
and I let her, and I just stay away. I don't even read the paper when it's brought into the house anymore. So,
Yeah.
it's one of those. Just if you can't deal with the good, if you can't deal with the bad stuff, don't read the good stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can't get too high and you can't get too low. So I think I just took myself away from it, because I just found I was on a bad week. If I played bad, I mightn't read the paper, and then if I played good, I would read the paper. And just going, well, what's the difference?
Mm.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what they say about me. I know what kind of footballer I am. I know how good I can be. I know how bad I can be. So look, I think it comes down to your own person. Perhaps some people love reading it. Some people use it as motivation, whatever works for you. But for me, it's kind of trying to take yourself away from it. Look, I've done interviews before, and I wouldn't go and read it then, because I know what I've said.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. And then it's up to perception, I suppose, of what people take from it. Then, some people might think I talk a lot of crap. Some people might think I talk a lot of sense, and so be it. It's just perception, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested as well, particularly maybe in season, you can maybe compare it to the off season, but as an intercounty footballer, let's say 24 hours in a day or in a week, how often do you actually think about football? And like, I'm just trying to get the sense that because you're always trying to, like, let's say when you're eating food, you know, it's obviously tailored, your nutrition is tailored towards your performance. And then, as you said, the gym, you've now developed a thinking of just enjoying the gym. But how often do you actually think about football in the day to day?
Probably a lot more than I should.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I'm constantly thinking about it. As you said, when I'm going to eat, I'm thinking, oh, is this okay? Or I can't have that, or I will have that. I do think about it a lot. I suppose, or I'm always thinking about when's my next session. I have to structure my work life around my training. I do think it is a full-time job. Um, in the sense of I might not be training every hour of the day, but I definitely am thinking about every hour of the day, and I'm planning my day around performance.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny. So, no, I do think it is it's constantly on your mind as an intercounty footballer, as any player, I suppose. And if you think about the game enough, or if you enjoy the game enough, that you will, I suppose, make sacrifices and think about it in what's happening throughout your day. I know today I have to fit in a kick into a session today, so it's about, will I be finished work early enough to get out of the pitch before someone needs the pitch, and just making it happen and making time for it, I suppose. So it's constantly on your mind, yes. But look, I think if you didn't enjoy it, I don't think you'd do it. So it's one of those, I think.
Do you ever find it kind of overwhelming, or do you find yourself nearly burning out with everything?
I think a lot of people do. I know some of my close mates that would be heavily involved do find it tough, and I completely understand why they do. But for me, no. I look, there has been times over the last few years where I'm going, geez, I'd love a week away. Excuse me, I haven't been on holiday since 2016. I got away to England, I think last year or the year before, for a weekend. Other than that, I haven't seen sun since 2016. So look, there's things like that I suppose are mental when you look at them in reality. And I suppose I'm contradicting myself here a little bit when I'm saying, look, the sun still comes up in the morning, but at the end of the day, I'll give it all I have. And look, my uncle, I got offered to go to America a few years ago and I didn't go. Just because of club championship, or it was loud, we're still playing or something like this. And there are opportunities that you miss out on, I suppose. So it's weird, and it's just something you have to deal with, I suppose. And as I said, if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it, I don't think.
I see you have your Whoop on. How do you find kind of tracking your sleep and performance with the Whoop?
Yeah, I suppose it's another little tool. I think it's a what is the word? I suppose it's not that it's a weird one. It's a great asset to have if you can, I suppose, park it in a sense. I think if you're waking up every morning and looking at it going, geez, I didn't sleep well last night, or if you're letting it affect your day or your performance that weekend or whatever, I think it's nice to know, but sometimes you don't need to know. Sometimes I think if when you wake up, you slept good, you don't have to look at your watch or sort of way. Or I think at the start it was nice to go and say, right, if I got too close to bed, I didn't sleep well that night, so maybe that's something I can improve on. Or if I left the telly light on in the room, I didn't sleep well, and you just get used to things like that. So some days I don't even check the phone to see the score, and some days I do if I have time and stuff. So look, they're you see, I think a lot of lads are wearing them now, and they're great for little things. But I think if you're going to get one, or if you have one, it's about, can you cut off from it and not let it affect that performance. Like, let's say you wake up on the day of a game, I'd rarely check it on the day of a game, because if I feel good, I feel good. I don't need my watch to tell me that I feel good or if I feel shit. So I think that's a big one and an important thing to take from it. But it's a cool piece of data. I think over the COVID, it was pretty cool actually to keep an eye on respiratory rate and HRV in the sense of not contracting the virus was a big one for me actually. So anytime that people are like, we had a few cases on the team, maybe a few months ago, it was probably 2 months ago now, and you kind of just keep checking every day. Respiratory rate hasn't dropped off or anything, so that was a nice one, I suppose, and being in the gym with people, I suppose, as well. I could keep checking throughout. So that was I think it's a cool piece of data.
From your own point of view, kind of pre-match or maybe even pre-training, would you have your own sort of routine of mobility or stretching or maybe kicking you mentioned before? Like, talk us through a little bit of, I'm always interested in individuals' approach, particularly as an intercounty footballer, even towards training, because I know a lot of the guys do a lot before training even.
Yeah, so I suppose before training, I always love to be an hour early. I actually like gymming before training, so I like to get a gym session in before training, which is kind of a new thing for me, but because I always would have been here an hour early before training. And I'd always do mobility or stretching or foam roll, and now it's actually changing to actually just fit in my gym session here now. And I spend about 40 minutes lifting weights before I go out onto the pitch. My heart rate's up, I feel good, I'm loose, and then I go train. And I suppose before a match, I haven't tested it before a match yet, but it could be a dodgy one to try before championship, so I don't think I'll try this year. I could get in trouble for that one, but no, look, I think it's about finding what works for you. There's actually a program on the Fast Academy where I've put together what I do. If anyone wanted to check that out, it's a 15-minute program that brings you through mobility, activation and power to prep you for the pitch. So look, that's what I like, to keep it simple. I like to feel good, and know that all the key muscle groups are activated and ready to go. And then it's just about power and jumps and stuff like that to make sure the central nervous system is firing as well, I suppose.
For the 2021 season, Mickey Harte named you captain. Talk us through what was that conversation like, and I suppose again fulfilling your dream, and why do you think he named you captain of the squad? And just talk us through a little bit of that, because I think you were underage captain with Louth at one stage.
Yeah, so I suppose there was no conversation.
Okay.
I've got asked that a few times, but there was no conversation with me or Mickey in regards to the captaincy. We were at training the Sunday morning. We had trained, we were in a group huddle after, and he just said the captain for the year, Sam Mulroy, and that was it. Didn't speak to him before, didn't speak to him after it. I like to think I took it in my stride. I'd always be vocal enough. I'd have no problem saying if I felt something that had to be said. So before, I suppose, I was named captain, I would have spoke anyway, or would have liked to dealt with things that way. So it didn't really change much for me. The only thing that changes is that you have to go for the toss before the match, or if you lose, you have to do the interview, which no other players has asked you, you know, sort of way. No, it didn't change much for me. Look, it was obviously a massive honour, and one that I'm forever grateful for, and hopefully I'll be captain for many years to come. But look, it's been brilliant. It's been a massive learning curve, and I suppose you're rocking up the training maybe as a player, just thinking about yourself, and maybe when you're captain, you're thinking about a few other things and how other players are feeling. Or I suppose there's that responsibility maybe as well. But no, there was no big conversation. We get on well. And look, at the end of the day, I think Mickey gave me captaincy because I was doing something right, so I didn't think I had to change anything then, you know, so the way he gave me for a reason. So I didn't change too much once it was named or anything like that. So I like to do my business, go about my business as best I can, I suppose, and look and just perform. I think it's the massive one as a captain. I think if you can lead by your performances, you don't have to worry about doing any speeches or talking or anything like that, I think.
As for yourself, really, because it kind of sounds like you've put that responsibility upon yourself more than having a chat with Mickey about it. But what sort of duty would you see yourself having as captain? As you said, maybe checking in with players. As you just mentioned there, performance is key, just showing up, and then you don't need to really worry maybe about making a speech before the game if you know you're going to play well. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's just dealing with the added pressure in your own way. I suppose mine was, right, I have to prove a point here. Mickey's trusted me. I have to show him that he was right with his decision. So it was about getting a good league campaign, I suppose, for this year, and that's what we done. We got promoted. I played well enough in the games that we had. So it was about putting in performances, as I said, and then I suppose that added responsibility is what you put on yourself. I suppose what you can deal with, and I suppose it is maybe delegating, communicating from the management team to the players is probably a little bit of a responsibility that you have. It's nothing major. I suppose it's just getting the message across in a way that the team can take it on board. And then little things like dealing with the secretary might want you to deal with the tickets for the match, or it's a little things like that, you know, sort of way that come into play. But no, there's nothing major that change for me. I suppose it's just doing what I do best and trying to perform and play to the best of my ability.
I know what you mean. I was interested to hear, I think it was you were on the GA hour and you mentioned Mickey Harte. It could have been at the start of the year, I can't remember exactly at what point it was, but he asked the players, why are you here? And I'm interested to hear about that approach, and I'm interested also to hear your answer in particular.
The why are you here thing was a massive one. I think for a lot of players. I think players, I suppose, get there on talent sometimes. Just because they're good enough when the ball's in their hand, or and as I said, maybe they don't think about it enough sometimes, or they don't take on board what's been said to them, or what they're weak at, or what they can improve on. So it's about, like, for me, it's about looking at it going, why am I here? What do I want to achieve with this? I'm giving up, as I said, I'm giving up a lot of hours to do this. So why would I not take the piss with it? But why would I not give it my all? I'm coming to Derby or coming training or going to matches X amount of hours a week. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to give it my best shot. And at the end of the day, you only get a short window to play inter-county football, and it's just about maximising what years you get. So for me, it's about being the best footballer I can be, and I know Mickey Harte and Gavin Devlin are two of the best managers and coaches in Ireland. So for me to be there with them was my why. I suppose, in a sense of, you don't get many opportunities like that. I would do, if they asked me to stick my hand in the fire, stick my hand in the fire. You know, that's what I.
Yeah.
Stupid and all as that is, to be honest, I'd do whatever they asked. So look, that's what it's about for me. If I knew they are going to tell me something, they know what's right or wrong. They are more experienced, they're more equipped. In GA, they've spent more years at it. They've looked at the best players in Tyrone and in Ireland for the last, what, Mickey Hart was manager for 18 years. So he knows what the best is. And if he told me this is what it takes to be the best, I'd do it, to be honest with you. So that was my why. I'm sure the lads have their other reasons. And I suppose I wanted to be the captain of Louth. I want to be the best player in Ireland at some stage, and the best player in Louth, I suppose. So yeah, it was just about probably maximising potential, I think.
And what have they brought as a management team to the group and to the team? What have you seen maybe the biggest improvement, whether it's from an individual point of view with yourself or with the team?
I think from a team point of view, and an individual point of view, if you look at it in a bigger picture, it's not about Sam Mulroy, or it's not about Conor Grimes, or it's not about Craig Lynch. You know, sort of way. It was about how can we be better as a team, and I think once you get better as an individual and understand that your role for the team is appreciated, and I think that's what they bring. Whether you have to stand in the corner and not get the ball for 10 minutes, knowing that Sam Mulroy will get the ball in a minute, you're doing your job, and Sam appreciates you, and we appreciate you as a team. And I think that's a massive and a powerful tool to have as a management team, that they can make you feel $1 million by actually maybe not doing what you do at your club, or maybe not doing what you'd like to do, in a sense. Everyone wants to be the player that plays in the middle. Everyone wants to stand on the square or on the 40 yards or in midfield and kick 7 or 8 points. Everyone wants to do that, but unfortunately we all can't do that. And I think it's recognising, look, whatever role you get in the team, that you're benefiting the team, and at the end of the day, it's we, not me. I suppose is the big one for us at the minute. So, that was I think their best attribute that they brought to the team. Yeah.
Brilliant. Talking about the 2021 season, you're promoted back to Division 3. Talk us through kind of looking towards the future, sort of goals for the team and for you personally. Where do you see Louth football over the next couple of years, and where do you see yourself?
Yeah, as I said, look, it's about maximising potential for myself. I'd hate to look back and say that I could have done more there, or I should have done more that year, excuse me. So, it's about maximising potential personally, and then as a team, I think winning matches in Division 3 is massive for us, and hopefully a championship win next year would have been great. We got promoted this year, and it would have been nice to get a championship win, and we probably should have or could have bet Offaly that day. So it would have been massive, and I think winning, look, there's nothing that beats winning. So look, it'll be nice to get a few more wins on the Mickey and Gavin this year. Yeah.
What do you make of the Tier 2 conversation and that debate going on? For a county like Louth, how important is a Tier 2 championship, or do you feel like you should have a crack at Sam Maguire?
It's not that it's a strange one. It's a tough one to call. I think when you look at it in big terms and realistic terms, at the minute, we're nowhere near the level of the All Ireland champions thrown at the minute. We wouldn't beat them if we played them tomorrow. So it's like going, well, what's the point in that? I suppose when all you want to do is win. So it's about bringing it back, I suppose, to the team's why, and I think that's why the leagues have been so competitive over the last few years, and they've been brilliant in the sense of everyone's at their own level, and you're, like, we were in Division 4 last year because we deserved to be in Division 4 last year, so it's about dealing with that and trying to win matches then, I suppose. So look, I think everyone deserves a crack at the All Ireland. I think it could be done where you do play your All Ireland, maybe match first, and then you can break off into two separate divisions, whether that's an open draw for 32 teams, and you could end up playing Kerry in the first round, and if you lose, you're going to Division 2, or vice versa, you know, sort of way. So I think it could be done, that it gives more incentive for championship to be more competitive. And look, this year there was no backdoor or anything for a team like Louth, so it was tough to, I suppose, when you're looking at the training we done on our own during the winter and in the hail, rain and snow, and you're going for back by Offaly here, we're done and dusted. What did we play? I think we played 4 matches this year with Louth, so it's tough. It's tough to take in that sense. So it's I suppose you'd like to think the GAA could turn something around for teams like Louth. So with a bit of luck, yeah.
Absolutely. Overall, throughout your whole career, what's sort of the biggest lesson you've learned from sport?
The biggest lesson, that's a tough question. I don't know. The biggest lesson. I think to enjoy it, I suppose, enjoy and try and take every day and match or training session as it comes. And look, I'd be ripping if we lost a training match on a Tuesday night, sort of way. And it's about getting playing in the moment, I suppose. And yeah, I think about living and trying to play in the moment more so than anything. I think is the one lesson that I would have learned.
We're going to move on to the sideline 7. It's the same 7 questions at the end of every episode. Question 1, what is your favourite quote?
My favourite quote. Today's a great day to have a great day.
And where's the whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right? Where does that come from? I think that's the Instagram bio
Yeah, that's
for...
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my second one, I think. That's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. I love that one. I think it's just, as I said, spoke about earlier, it's just pure mindset. Whether I can think I can put the ball over the bar, or whether I think I can't, I think I'm right, that sort of way. So it's just about flipping that mindset and going, right, look, whatever way I look at this, you're right, that sort of way. So I think it's a massive learning and tool that you can look at for everyday life, whether I can start this business or whether I can't start this business, or whether you can kick the ball over the bar, whether you can't, or that sort of way. So I think it's perspective, as I spoke about earlier as well. So I do like that one.
I've asked a couple of people about their sport. Could you kind of put into percentages? Is football more physical or more mental, do you think?
I don't think it's more than the other.
Okay.
I think you have to. I do think you have to have both. Especially in the modern game. Maybe in the older days, if you look back in clips, I think it's more physical. I don't think there's much thought to what happened back then. I think now it's more. I think it's both, because if you can't get up and down the pitch, you're not going to be good enough. And if you don't have the mental strength to do it, you can't do either. So I think both are massively important.
Brilliant. Question 2, best sporting event you've been to?
There's been look, as a young fella, I suppose I was a big soccer fan. When my granddad was alive, he would have loved Man United, and my dad loves Man United as well. So we've been to a few Old Trafford matches, and we got to see Ronaldo back in the day and stuff. So they were massive. But probably I'm going to have to say, I think the 2017 All-Ireland final, when Dean Rock kicked that free at the end, I think is up there.
Yeah, you have to go back now to watch Ronaldo again.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not as interested anymore. I don't really care.
Particularly for your own career, is there any standout moment or match you've played in yourself?
I think the first day at Captain Louth was special. We didn't win, and that was tough to take. You think it might be a fairy tale. Played okay, you don't win, and it's kind of going on. It's the same old, with Louth or with Sam or whatever it is. So, that's disappointing. And then I suppose when you look at the good side of things, I think actually going out to captain my county was massively important and special. So although we didn't win, it was a brilliant day for me and one I'll never forget. And I suppose the biggest probably one is our championship win last year, and that final is special and will definitely live in the memory, I think.
Mm-hmm. Biggest setback or challenge so far in your career?
I suppose there's little things like when I came into the Louth panel in 2000, when I was 18, whatever year that was, in 2016 or 17, and I got into the championship panel. I was playing really well in training. Probably could have started that first championship match. They probably just didn't trust me enough. I come on at half time, and then the following match I was dropped from the panel altogether. So there's little things like that where you're going, look, I'm training well, why aren't I getting in? And then you set down yourself, and those can be little setbacks that you have to just, I suppose, get over and trust yourself. And at the time, I probably didn't trust myself enough. And so they're learning curves. And I suppose the big one probably for me was dislocating my ankle. Back in my probably maybe first year that I would have featured for Louth prominently. I was training well. Pete McGrath was over us that year, so we were in Division 2. It could have been a big year for me. Could have been a big year for Louth. And I just hit my ankle on the 30th of December playing a Bourne Cup match in the lashings of rain in Derby, and you're just going, oh my God, will I ever come back from this? That sort of way. So that was a massive. I missed all the league. I missed all most of the championship then as well. So that was tough. And I suppose, look, it happened for a reason, I suppose, in the end. But yeah, that was probably a big challenge I faced. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. On the flip side of that, your biggest achievement on or off the pitch?
I suppose on the pitch, probably captaining my county is up there, and winning Joe Ward with the club championship last year after being beaten in the 2 previous finals is a massive achievement for a club like ours, I think. And then off the pitch, I think running my own business and I suppose getting through what I didn't find easy in the college sense as well, is when you step back and look at it going, I'm here, I actually maybe have done better than I thought I could do. So yeah, those are probably the few achievements that I'm most proud of, I suppose. Looking
back, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
I think, as I spoke about earlier, to enjoy it a little bit more. Look, I went to Carlow. I think I went out twice in the whole year I was in Carlow in college. Like I was coming back for training. Did I have to? Was I going to make a difference? When I look back and stuff like that, you're kind of going, like, maybe could have enjoyed life a little bit more and stopped talking about football every time, or sort of way. So I probably would have, if I had my perspective on it now, maybe would have taken a step back when I was 18 and just look at the bigger picture. But in those days, it was just all, can I play for loud? Can I be good enough, etc., etc. So yeah, I think stop worrying about what if it goes wrong and start thinking about what if it goes right. Maybe. Yeah,
I've heard a couple of people speak about that enjoyment side of things, and you said there you only went out twice and you were up and down for gym sessions and training. But do you think is that what it takes to be, one of the top players in your county, to captain the team, to be an inter-county footballer? Does it take that complete sacrifice, that like just willing to do whatever, as you said, what the management want?
Yeah, maybe in a way. I think it's my way, I suppose. It's my way of doing it, and look, some people get away with. Look, I watched a clip with Jamie Redknapp this morning. He's saying he was rehabbing with, randomly, I was watching it, I don't know why, but he was saying he was rehabbing with Ronaldo 9 back in the day, and they were both rehabbing together, and they were asked to, let's say it was 100 squats, and Jamie would be bursting his hole to get it done, and then Ronaldo would get to 30, he'd get hardish and he'd stop.
Yeah.
And then Jamie would get loaned out to Southampton, and Ronaldo go win the Golden Boot the next year at the World Cup. And it's kind of like, I just think it's whatever you are and what you can bring to the table, whatever suits you. So when I look back, I'm kind of going, yeah, maybe I could have enjoyed it, but that was my way of doing it, and I don't think I would have done it. I wouldn't have done it different, and I probably still wouldn't do it different now. In a way, look, at the end of the day, to me, football's probably number one in my life a lot of the time. So, yeah, it's a strange one, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Dream dinner guest and why? And you can open the table up to a few people if you want.
Roy Keane.
Okay. What would you ask him?
I don't know. I think I just had the crack of him.
Yeah.
I think he'd be brilliant. I love him. My father was always a big fan, so we always would have watched back old United games of Roy Keane or clips of Roy Keane, and you see him now on Sky, and he's brilliant.
Yeah.
His perspective on life and his perspective on football and people, and I just think it's hilarious in a way, and it's arrogant and funny, and I think you have to take him with a pinch of salt, and yeah, I like it. I like him as a character, and I think what he done for Man United, as a leader and as a person, I suppose that, and even for Ireland, that, look, why should we settle for second best, or why should we accept that we're going to lose, or that little thing, I suppose, sticks with me, is like, same with Louth, like, oh, why should we not get the best, or why should we not win the All Ireland? It's why? Because other teams deserve it more. No, they don't. Like, so it's about, can you change that mindset? And I think he is that mindset. So I definitely talked to him about something like that. I think, and how he probably changed the perception around. I know United were winning at the time, and when he came in, but I suppose with the Ireland thing as well, look, they went to the World Cup when he was captain and stuff. So when you look at the team now, they're obviously struggling a little bit. So I'd like to think what he'd do if he was going into the dressing room now as a player and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he'd be interesting to have at dinner.
Absolutely. Final question before I let you go: if your life was a book, what chapter would this be called?
I thought about this one actually for a good while, and it's a brilliant question, and one that probably threw me a little bit. It's a good question. I think I'd call it Work Done, More to Do.
Okay, so you're now putting that expectation on you for any of the listeners. They'll be make sure to watch you over the next couple of years, yeah?
Yeah, work done, more to do, I think.
Brilliant. Look, Sam, thank you so much for your time. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'll be sure to link all of your social media below on the Fast Academy and all your fitness stuff as well. Just thanks many for your time.
Brilliant.
And I just want to wish you the very best of luck next year and beyond.
Thank you all. I appreciate that. Enjoyed that. Thank you.
A big thank you to Sam for joining me today. I really enjoyed our chat and I hope you got something from it. I'll be sure to leave all of his social media links in the description box below, including the Fast Academy website. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please do take 10 seconds out of your day to leave a rating and a review, as it does help the show grow. Don't forget to check out the brand new website, thesidelinelive.com, for more content. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.